Great. Derek Fisher, welcome to the continent. Everyone wants to know, why are you in Kenya? Why are you on the continent?
The game of basketball, the NBA. The game of basketball has been so impactful in my life. It has taken me many places. It has now brought me to Nairobi and to Kenya for the very first time in my life, and I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you. Derek, we have lots of great African icons, Hakeem Olajuwon, Dikembe Mutombo that just passed, so many greats there. People want to know, who is your favorite and why?
That's a great question. I mean, I have so much respect for players from everywhere, specifically here in Africa. Dikembe Mutombo, to me, represents so much more than basketball, and what, in my experience, makes African-born people so amazing and so wonderfully graceful. The impact that he left on this world that goes beyond what he did on the court is why Dikembe is my favorite. He's an example of how, if we choose to live our life in service, we can leave this earth feeling very accomplished and leave an amazing legacy.
Okay, Derek, you know what it means to play with great players. You know what it takes to be great. Africans want to be great basketball players. What would you say is the recipe for greatness?
I think everybody's recipe is different, and that's really the key. I think oftentimes when we're chasing greatness, we are overly trying to mimic what someone else did. And in some ways, it's important to find our recipe.
Yeah.
The key ingredients, though, regardless of whose recipe it is, obviously hard work, grit, resilience, mental toughness, physical toughness as an athlete. But you must care about the game. You must pour all of you into the game of basketball. There's such thing as the basketball gods, and you must treat the basketball gods with respect, and they will respect you.
And finally, Derek, before we let you go, you know, you've heard the adage, it's easier to be struck by lightning than to play in the NBA. So there's a great talent gap between the North Americans and the rest of the world. Do you think camps like this can narrow that gap and give an African from around the corner an opportunity to play in the NBA?
Yeah, I mean, I think the key word you use is opportunity. And so the NBA, junior NBA, having clinics like today here on the continent, creating that access for young people here is so important to not just growing the game of basketball. And yes, let's hope to see an NBA, WNBA player from Kenya, from Nairobi. But let's also develop great young people that can change the world on and off the court.
Very well said. And I did say that was my last question, but I got one more. What were you thinking when South Sudan took the United States all the way to the brink?
Look, basketball does not belong to the United States. That gap that you mentioned is closing. Yeah. Very proud of Coach Royale Ivey, who's a former teammate of mine with the Oklahoma City Thunder. I do expect to continue to see great things from the South Sudan team. Luol Deng continues to do great things, impacting the community with his foundation and his work. So I think there's more to see. 2028 in LA is going to be really interesting.
Thank you, Derek.
Yep, thank you.